Good evening, everybody. Uh, as you have said the opening prayers, our this Dharma study and practice is not just solve the problem of this life, today, tomorrow. Our main focus is to free all the suffering entire in the samsara, and not just only for oneself, but for all other sentient beings, to achieve the perfect state of the enlightenment. Now, we all know, you have heard of many times because you have read many books and you have also met many great teachers, received teachings. Everybody in the samsara or in the world desire for peace and happiness. Everyone is desire to free from suffering. So we all, everyone in reality, nature, we're all in the same boat. But then it's depends so much to the individual's life, individual's way of thinking, individual's interest. There's so many different way of ideologies, way of belief, way they are taught, and way one, the abilities, inclination of the individual's interest. There are so many ways. There are so many different way of thinking. But as I mentioned, the desire for peace and happiness, the desire to free from suffering is the same goal. There's no difference. So having said that, so there are many different individuals in the human realm. So there are some people interested in the politics, and through the different politics way can solve the problem and can bring peace and happiness. There are some people are very interested in the business. Through the business, they believe can achieve for all the peace and happiness and free from suffering. And there are some individuals involved in the technologies. So through the different technologies, as you can see, every day, every year, there's something new to solve the problem, suffering, and to make the life better, more peaceful. Scientists as well. All the different scientists, there are many different science. So those or every individuals, they investigate, they analyze. So through the scientific way is the best way to solve this confusion problem and bring the suffering and free from the suffering. As well, the farmers, they farm. And then we also make traveling. We travel to the mountain to have some peace, happiness. We travel to ocean to have some peace and happiness, you know. So this is what we do. The fundamental idea is to have happiness and free from suffering. But mostly you say, we want peace and happiness from outside. Peace and happiness is provided by the outside. And our suffering can be dispelled by outside. The leader of the country, the business people. So there we expect to alleviate our suffering. Or spiritual masters, we ask their blessings to free our suffering. We to have peace and happiness. So you say, oh, this there. Now you ask why everybody desire for peace and happiness. There's no one in the world, not only human being, even animals, insects, no, that doesn't desire for peace or for happiness. There's no one in the world, those who have consciousness, so suffering is okay. I have this suffering, it's okay, I can handle it. Maybe say, I really enjoy my suffering, you know. So why this is about? We should ask that question. Why about this? Believers, non-believers, you know, educated, uneducated, rich or poor, everybody, even birds, small insects, why we're in the same boat? Ask that question. No. Some think the spiritual or the religion are not the way to free from suffering. It's not the way to have peace and happiness. So there are many different way of thinking, but as mentioned, the bottom line is one. And also you see in our life, when there's some peace in the mind, some happiness in the life, everybody appreciates, feel that it is very comfortable. When there's some physical suffering, mental suffering, it feels so uncomfortable. So see, why that is about. Even though we all want it that, but as I mentioned, there's so many different ways of thinking. There's so much disagreement each other's. Your way is right. Your way is wrong. My way is right. This is what I think is the best solution. And other one will say the same thing. Your way is wrong. No, my way is better. So these things are there. Why? First of all, we should say that this, you have heard of many times Buddha nature. Buddha is a Sanskrit word. Basically, the enlightened nature. awakened nature, or sometimes we use basic goodness, effulgence of the nature. Is pervaded to every sentient beings. Everyone is endowed that reality nature. So having said that, you say that nature itself is total peace. It's called undefiled peace that endowed within us, everyone. But that one is called enlightened and unenlightened, you know. So enlightened is Buddha, who is enlightened. And we are called unenlightened. Why we are unenlightened is we have not seen that. No. Since we have not seen that, or we have not revealed that, then we say we are unenlightened. That Buddha, the historical Buddha, called Buddha Shakyamuni, fully awakened and saw that directly, called enlightened. So that Buddha, which is fully enlightened, then perceived everyone, every sentient beings, we should say sentient beings, also have consciousness, endowed this quality. It's a very hidden subject. That's why we have to bring the Buddha's teaching quotation. The Buddha said this. We have no ability and to see this right now. So that's what it's called. The lack of that ability, it is called adventitious defilement. The obscuration or defilement, mental afflictions, it surrounded our mind. That becomes the impediment for us to see. So that's where first we have to understand that. We need to study, practice the Dharma teachings. So it is not something blindly said somewhere. No, believe something. No. Historically, no, Buddha. So it's not the Buddha Shakyamuni. Because he was not as a Buddha. He was born. He was born as a prince. Over 2,565 years or something. He was born as a prince. His father was a very powerful person who rules in that area. Then, once he was born, he grown up with such a good life. A lot of caretakers, and got excellent opportunity going to school, college, we should say. In other words, he got excellent opportunity to study all the knowledge that exists at that time. Culture, different religions, arts, philosophies, all this. And he was also a very gifted. That time he was called Siddhartha, you know. His name was called Siddhartha. And as a young man, then who lives in such a beautiful palace in a kingdom, there was a swimming pool. All the things that he needed that his father provided. But then he was going around to the country, seeing the people of the country. Some are rich, some are poor. Some are very poor in the farmland. So he observed all the conditions of there. He could see the disadvantaged people and those who are advantaged people, advanced in their wealth, education, business, and some who doesn't have anything. You could see all these things. Sometimes he meditated under a tree. Contemplating, he was contemplating in his mind about these conditions, the people's life. So like that, you see, was growing. Then he was contemplating more. Once I become king, what I can provide to these people, the suffering that people have, how I can solve their problem. As a leader of the country, what should I do? No. He was not thinking himself how I should be so happy. No. How I should slave these people for my life. Instead, what I can do for the people. Like these things. Then he was married. So in 29, when he was 29, then he just, I must do something more than this. Just stay in the kingdom. So he left the kingdom out of big responsibilities because they're suffering there. Some sufferings are very mysterious. Ordinary people cannot solve, like say, common aging, getting sick, then finally die. Everyone go through this, rich or poor, educated, uneducated. It's normal thing, But how I can solve those problems? Suffering. So then after renouncing the kingdom, then he went from such a luxurious life to such another extreme ascetic life. No food, no place, no shelter, no clothes. Was meeting many different teachers, well-known teachers, discussing their practice. Then he, for 6 years in a meditation, so he saw the complexity of the mind. The mind is so complex. See? At the end, he achieved such a profound meditative state or pervading state of the mind, he thought, now I am enlightened. But he got a message, says, still, you are not enlightened. And from there, you proceed to Bodh Gaya, and many people know about Bodh Gaya. He went there and under the Bodhi tree. And he fully dedicated his life until I achieved the final realization. I will stay here, not move from the seat. Even my whole body disintegrates, I will stay here. So through that kind of strong renunciation, determination, courage, and he achieved the enlightenment. Then everything is clear, precise. All the questions that he has, all the questions are solved. There's nothing to ask any questions. So because of that, he said, now I am enlightened. I found the undefiled ambrosia, which is so profound and total peace, free from elaboration. And its nature is the effulgence or the clarity nature. That itself is uncompounded. Nobody created it. It's just nature itself. So that time, then he was called Buddha. Before that, he was called Siddhartha. Yeah. Then he was called Buddha. So you see, he went through all the training. It's not said Buddha from many lifetime, It's something like methodologically manifested, It's not that. Practically went through all the training. As you know, Milarepa, he did that, you see. So after that, then he taught all those teachings. As mentioned, the mind is so profound. The mind is very vast. But it is consciousness. It's not a matter. There's two things, matter and consciousness. See, this is matter. This all a matter, not this all. Consciousness is what we think about. I consciously understand. No, I can see this right or wrong. So now there's a lot of scientists, they're making robot, isn't it? Robot. They're expecting one day a robot may become a human being or something, I think it is very difficult. Robot is still matter. The scientists, they think they put a lot of machine inside, He said, then they recorded all what the robot was saying, Consciousness is such an inconceivable subject to perceive. Only we rely on the Buddha's teaching who enlightened, who taught. See. So you see. So that what the Buddha taught at that time, over 2,500 years Buddha taught, is the causality. What is the suffering and what's the cause of suffering? What's the temporary peace and happiness and what's the cause of that? And then the final, the ultimate peace and happiness and what's the cause of that? So all the Buddha's teachings are within that dimension, within that subject. So Buddha taught that since then, as I mentioned, so many years passed. See, in the world, you see, so many lifestyles have changed within that. See, so many way of thinking have changed. A lot of cultures have changed. But Buddha's teaching, it's still so fresh. We don't have to make anything new. Instead, we are having a hard time to understand that. See, if we have ability, nerve, courage to penetrate what Buddha said, what Buddha taught, still so fresh. It's amazing, isn't it? Just think about that. You see, in that, regarding to that, there's no negotiation. You just have to follow. So, since that's the case, every individual has a responsibility to follow, because this is the way, it's the method to solve all the problems, confusion, with the wisdom that Buddha taught. So just this important point that I'm putting here for my limited understanding. So in this 21st century, education is highly appreciated. Everywhere, all over the world, there's a school, college, university, study, all this. People know when they are advanced in their understanding, education is much better for the country. That kind of concept is there. And education is very expensive as well. Going to school. So I said, now, science and then medical education is so expensive. So Buddha's teaching is within that state. It's education. Education is very important. That's all wisdom, compassion, and wisdom. See, it's taught. So the inner mental qualities is the one that now so much focus in the Buddha's teaching. So, there are so many religions in the world we have. Buddha's teachings now, many or some great thinker, they say Buddha's teaching is beyond religion. It is this, they say, it is the scientific, not just only scientific, but also you see logical, scientific, logically taught reality as it is. That's why the Heart Sutra now this today and next 2 days, isn't it? So it's very short. Is it? I see there. Little more than it's 1 page and a half. So short. But it's very profound. It contains such a great, it's a vast meaning. So this is very important to have this background. As I mentioned, you have met many great teachers, received those teachings so much. I can imagine, so you see how much Mahamudra teaching you have received. So many, how much of Dzogchen teaching you have received. So many, isn't it? See, so Heart Sutra is nothing different from that. But it's very important to have understanding these background that will help us while we're practicing. So if we have ability, if we have this, mental capacity, we should say the Buddha's teaching, which we have this Vajrayana teaching, can serve great service in the world. It transcends all the differences. Our mental, look at the mental, mind, ignorance, attachment, aversion, pride, jealousy, greed, all those, look at those. Scientists, they don't talk about those things. Other religions, they don't talk about these things. All the business people will not talk about these things. All the politicians will not talk about these things. Isn't it? Even though there's a lot of laws are made, but they don't teach directly about these things. But in the Buddha's teaching, how much in detail described about this. Avoid all the mental afflictions. Purify. Step by step. See. Sometimes when you receive Dzogchen, Mahamudra teaching, everything's just play of the mind. I'm sure you have heard of that, isn't it? It's just nothing, they come and go. But in reality, it's not that easy. You see, it looks very simple. It's like a cloud. They come and go, They come from the sky and dissolve into the sky. It's like the waves, the ocean, they come and go, And you feel, oh, that sounds good, I like it, But then when you face the, your reality in your life, it's not that easy. You see. So why it is? These are very important points. The complexity of the mind. Sometimes you find, the mind, Buddha haven't seen the mind. There's nothing to see it. And you say, yes, Buddha knows everything. There's one very famous quotation in the Mahamudra prayer by third Karmapa, Rangchung Dorje. The mind is not there. Even that the Buddhas of 3 times have not seen it. Yes, anyone who speaks Tibetan? Yoba mai Yahweh Yang Masing. It's not there, even Buddha have not seen. Meba mai konde conditions, no non-existence, because it's the basis of the samsara nirvana. So it's contradictory, It's not there, but then it's the basis of the samsara nirvana. So it is not against Gendomai. It's called the non-duality of the Matameka. So like these things. So what I'm saying is that our mind is very profound. Just a very simple thing, just you went to market, supermarket. You found such a nice piece of cloth. Oh, it's a beautiful, I have to buy it. And you got it. Whatever price it costs, you just give, and you got it. Next day, you open it. Oh, I don't like this, So why, you see? First day you like it, and second day you don't like it. Why? It's your mental perception. That's the complexity of the mind, just When you met people, there are some, and you become so close friend. Oh, no. Then after some time, you become so close friend, and whatever that person does, said, anything, you totally agree with that. You just quote it, that person said, this person said, you see, we all should follow that, And then after some time, things change. Then you fight, It's why, It's because the mind is so complex. I myself contradicts myself. You see? That's the complexity of the mind. Exist, nor exist, or no. So it's all, that's what's called play of the mind now, It's not just, they come and go. Yes, of course, it come and go. But there's a deeper meaning in that. You see, look at these things. So that Buddha taught. That's why it's called 84,000 mental afflictions. Affliction, 84,000 types of mental afflictions. To relate to that, to comprehend that, Buddha taught 84,000 categories of the teachings. So that's what that's why we should feel so fortunate to contact this kind of teaching and meditation practice. Within the 6 realms, precious human life has all the opportunity, because it's a special intelligence there. It's a condition, there's special conditions there to serve the purpose. So our human life that we have, what is you may ask, what's the purpose of human life? Our purpose, we want peace and happiness. We want free from suffering. So because of that, now human life has all the ability to handle that. So this is our purpose of the life. So studying, practicing Buddha's teaching is not just a religion. just to believe something. It's not something spiritual thing. It's everything. So see, you look at this, some business people, how much they work hard. Yeah, I don't know. The people now there, the world is so complex. One individual cannot do all the business things. The company, the organization, many people come together. They discuss what's the best way, how the solution is, So it gives different ideas, understanding, method, you see, because they don't know enough. Here we are with the talk, everything. But we need to understand that, study, practice. So there are first some hearing, contemplation, and practice meditation. First you hear, means including reading. You read, then after reading, you contemplate what it means. Get understand. You understood, like as you have received a lot of Mahamudra teachings, or Gyaltsen teachings you have received, you understood. It makes sense. But due to lack of the putting into practice, it's just on the head. No benefit practically. So that's what's called put into practice. So these three things require hearing, contemplation, and meditation practice. Meditation practice means to digest the teachings that what you understood. What you understood, that you have received. Reading is you understood. As you read, then you contemplate about that, and it makes sense. It's you are convinced about that. But then due to lack of the practice, we don't get the benefit. You know it, but your mind becomes so wild. The benefit, So now to get the benefit, we have to digest the teaching. That to put it to practice. That's what's called these teachings why it's so important. So there is not just some ways, this is beautiful, Buddha's teachings, Buddha taught. So now this included in the Heart Sutra, all this you see. You see, how Yi, ground, Yi, path, ground, path, and the fruition. These three things are important. First, foundation, ground. Then path, follow. And then the fruition. Shi, lam, debu. It's mentioned hearing, contemplation, and put into practice. The two, these are done in a way. What's the foundation? Ground. The ground is mentioned to Buddha nature. That everybody is endowed that. Like you see, there's a butter in the milk. There's a butter in the milk. There's a milk, but still it's milk. It's not the butter. No, not the butter. Now, first, it's important that there's a butter in the milk to understand. Then next, how to produce the butter from the milk. make that understand. Then you know how to produce the butter from the milk. Once it's produced, so then this is a butter. This butter is come from the milk. So you see, during the milk is not butter. When the butter is produced, there is butter, not milk. But without the milk, there's no butter. That butter is produced from the milk. See. So that's called the ground, like in that the butter is in the milk. So the nature is within us. So butter in the milk, the butter which is produced, that produced butter is no better butter than in the milk. Exactly what the butter inside the milk, that nature itself, when it's produced, is called butter. Oh, so that butter is not better butter than in the milk, but exactly the same butter. But still, as I mentioned, milk is not butter. Butter is not the milk. So our Buddha nature, what we have, and the Buddha who is enlightened. So Buddha's mind, the enlightened mind, is not a better mind than what we have, our Buddha nature. So that's the ground. So we have the ground of the enlightenment. But we can, even though we have the Buddha nature, but I cannot call I'm a Buddha. I'm not a Buddha, but I have the potential to be Buddha. So Buddha is Buddha, not confused sentient beings. So now what we have to do is called path. We take the path step by step. How to start? When you teach, when the great teacher, they teach Mahamudra, Gyaltsen, something like you are like a Buddha. Your mind is a Buddha mind. It's all it's a play of the mind, nothing. And you feel also you are floating in the sky, But still you are not Buddha, you see. That moment you may feel, oh, looks like I'm a Buddha, really, But after some time, you are no longer Buddha, Yeah, when the butter in the milk describes, so this is the butter, see the milk, this, you say, oh, you feel maybe milk is the butter, But actually butter is milk, not butter, So like that, you see, you need a path towards the enlightenment. So then when you totally purify all the adventitious defilements, it's called adventitious because all the mental afflictions are impermanent, transitory nature. You see, one day you're so angry, oh, you feel, I can kill that. But then next day, it's all disappeared. Then you feel, oh, yesterday I was so angry, so now I'm so sorry about that. That's called adventitious, temporary obscurations that if you can make effort, you can purify. But from that point of view, you have to build the courage. Okay, you need to build it's called unflinching, unflinching courage. See, you need to build that kind of devotion, unflinching devotion. Then you will go forward. You don't derail from the path. Many cases you do that. You first oh, I'm so interested. I like the Dharma teaching, so wonderful. After some time, I changed my mind, Yes. And then you derail from the path. It's very unfortunate, So don't to derail from the path, to have the unflinching devotion. So first, these things are so important to set up. Relax, Then you feel, yes, I can make it. Okay. I will do it no matter what it takes time. That's why, when you heard the Buddha's life story, Buddha has practiced for 3 limitless eons. Have you heard of that? You see, 3 limitless eons, Kalpa. Buddha has practiced that. So in that case, I should follow that. Doesn't matter, it takes time. Now sometimes can we not really attend Buddha without going through the 3 limitless kalpas? Then you can hear the life story of Milarepa. So Milarepa attained Buddhahood in a single lifetime. You see, so there's a lot of kind of way, how you can follow the path. Depends individual. You can also say, you should have such a kind of like say emergency feeling. No, I cannot stay in the samsara any longer. I must go forward enlightenment. So that's why it's called interdependent. So interdependent of the teacher, we need such qualified teachers, and then such dedicated disciple, and then you practice according to that. Then there's possibilities, all this. So you have to understand all these things, Then when you, without, so without all the causes and condition, just say, I want to achieve Buddhahood. Can you do this? Can you give me this? Without understanding all the causalities, you cannot push. Like see, now I will show you this, This here, it makes sound, isn't it? Yes, it makes sound. Where the sound is produced, it depends on many. First of all these things need, all these things. You need this holder. And you need this, it's called tongue. Yeah. And then you need hand to hold it, but still doesn't make noise, And you have to move. So this to make that sound, how many things you need here? It's not just one thing, 2 things, 3 things. All the things you need to make that sound. It's called interdependent. Okay. Now where the sound is here, 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 where? Nowhere. Produce the sound, you can hear the sound, but the sound is nowhere. So you see this, you look at the very detail about it. You see, that's what's called interdependent. Depending arising. It's called depending arising. In Sanskrit, it's called Pratita Pada Samuda. Look at this, see. Everything's like this now. This building is like that. We need all these things to function this. If one is missing, it's not there. So likewise, your practice meditation need that. The teacher, the students, all these practices, all the teachings. And this is not just something Buddhist belief. You think it's a Buddhist belief? It's reality, nature. So Buddha realized this and taught us. That's why this is not a religion. This making sound. It's not a religious belief. It's not a culture. No, it's the reality, nature, everything. You know, look at this. Our suffering, the same thing. It's not manifest from something with many things together. So when you realize this, then you see that's what's called illusory nature. Have you heard of illusory nature? Everything's illusory nature, you know. We're not making illusion, but everything functions within the illusory nature. But we don't realize that. So in our samsara, we know we're grasping. So something exists, something is real, you know. Then was so that grasping is due to is called ignorance. Ignorance is not a stupid thing. There's some ignorant people are so smart, you know. So because of the ignorance thing, I perceive this is a real table. I can touch, you know. And when that's there, I like it, I don't like it. The attachment, the aversion. Yeah, you see. So based on the ignorance, then attachment and aversion, the anger is there. So they are interdependent. In reality, you see the aversion, the anger, the attachment are so contradictory. Aversions you hate, you get rid of. Attachment is you just, you know, grasping, you just want to possess. But without attachment, there's no aversion. Okay. All the aversion you have is based on your attachment. When there comes the impediment, you know, impediment, when there comes obstacle, you know, when there comes obstacle to your attachment, then there comes the anger. They'll say, oh, this bell is so beautiful. I like this bell, you know. So then says, this is mine, you know. Then because I have so attached to this bell, if somebody comes, touches, you say, don't touch. No, it may break, you know. Your fear, they may break, you know. And especially if somebody takes away, I will fight, you know, because I'm attached to this. If I don't have attachment to this, if somebody takes away, just take away. Yeah, that's okay. There's no reason to have aversion. Make sense? So these are how Buddha taught the teachings. These are so important. That's why it's called renounce. Have you heard of renunciation? Renounce means renounce the cause of suffering. It's not renounce, literally it's not renounce, it's a renounce this temple. Renounce the attachment to the temple. Because it serves no purpose. It serves only suffering. We don't want suffering. So when Buddha said, avoid these things, means, but it means the cause of suffering. So renounce the cause of suffering. We should understand that. Otherwise, sometimes, I know there are many taking like refuge, precepts, so, oh, I'm not ready yet, so, I wait still, so, because we don't have enough wisdom what the Buddha's teaching is about. Refuge is a cause for peace and happiness. So taking refuge and practicing refuge is a cause for peace and happiness. It's not something Buddhist thing. You should understand. And the precepts, a lot of different precepts you have heard of. All the precepts of Buddha prescribed, prescribed all the precepts Buddha prescribed for the peace and the happiness, to harmonize our life. If we could follow as the Buddha prescribed all those precepts, we're much better off. This is all a method to uproot our delusion, cause of suffering. See, so that's why you can see how much Buddha has the wisdom. First of all, how Buddha understood all these things. Then you can see how much Buddha has a compassion to share his wisdom to all the sentient beings. So Buddha's teaching is not just only for Buddhists. Buddha's teaching is not just for monks and nuns. Buddha's teaching is for every sentient beings. We should understand that. That's why you said the prayer. What we have said, prayer, may all mother sentient beings have happiness and causes happiness. We're not saying the prayers, may all Buddhists have happiness and causes happiness. Not only that, at the beginning we said, the prayers you led. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, also create obstacles on my path. All mother sentient beings have happiness, free from suffering, and swiftly attain enlightenment. See? So we need a skill to share this wisdom. Okay. Everybody, very inclusive. Because in the world, so everywhere they want peace and happiness. Look at all the suffering they're going through. From what? From the self-grasping, through the delusions. The first day, and you ask the question about greed. What I said was the two types of greed. The self-grasping greed and selflessness greed. Self-grasping, I, me, everything should be under my control. And then greed manifest. And then produce a lot of suffering there, confusions there, And whereas Buddha, without Buddha himself, so I want all this, but share the wisdom, embrace everybody under Buddha's compassion. Everybody should be free from suffering. So Buddha's greed is the greed, that Everybody should be free from suffering and achieve enlightenment. Make sense? That's what's called. Have you heard of 4 Dharmas of Kambupa? The fourth was called dawning the confusion into wisdom. So that greed, self-grasping greed, is now that itself, greed itself, understanding the nature of the selflessness, and then the greed is nothing but wisdom. All sentient beings, the Buddha desire to free from all the suffering and want to have all the peace and happiness. Because these things are so important that we need to understand, you see, no? What time now? Oh,
7:15.
7:15. Okay. How we are doing?
Good.
You are feeling good?
Yes.
Okay. Are you getting some benefit?
Seeing you in person.
Oh,
Seeing you in person, Kempo.
yes. So this first, we should understand about how Buddha taught the teaching, what means and Dharma teachings about. That how first Buddha taught, not as a Buddhism, no, so my way, no, so how it functions universally, no, how everyone is. On the basis on that, we develop love and compassion and bodhicitta, you see. These things are such, so precious. Look at this, we have the 5 skandha. You know this 5 skandha. Form is in the Heart Sutra, we have that, The form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, Then so feeling, so forth, feeling, perception, form, consciousness. So these are 5 skandha, or 5 aggregates. So this is what we have, not outside somewhere there. This is what we're so attached to ourselves. This is my body. We're holding ourselves. So this is something self is exist. I, me. And then we see as we perceive as something permanent. This is when I was young. You take the picture. This picture is taken when I was 10 years old. This picture is taken when I was 20 years old. This picture is taken when I was 30 years old. This picture is taken when I was 60 years old. Then we're growing, Still we have a sense of I, 5 years old, I, me. In reality, it's totally different. When you are 5 years old, child, now you are 60, 70, it's totally different. But you are holding as I, it's permanent, grasping. Without realizing everything changing moment to moment. Yeah. Without realizing there's no self, holding the self. Something is permanently exists, self. And these things, we have to see these things, we have to realize is everything is impermanent. Impermanent is transitory nature, changing. The cause of changing, so look at the modern, all the technologies changing so fast. You keep changing, keep updating. So from that point of view, we have to understand that. Well, I'm not talking about everything's negative, no, but we have to understand how everything functions, how they are. We have to acknowledge the reality, nature of the samsara. We want peace and happiness, but suffering is always there. This five skandha is the condition of the suffering. That's why we have to prepare, you see. We have to prepare so much how to know how not to suffer so much. Like when you are aging, what do we do in the West? First of all, there's a lot of insurance, isn't it? Insurance is set for what? When you buy a car, you have to have a car insurance, isn't it? And then I'm more suffering, you know. You see? Yeah. First, you have to buy the car, and then you pay, you know. And then after that, you have to pay the insurance, more pay, you know. See, all the health insurance and so forth, everything is, you know. That's very strange. One time I've suggested some of my friend, how much you're paying the insurance? I said, you don't give this insurance to the insurance company. I said, you just, that money, you yourself put in your own bank every month, you know. You collect this. And when you get sick, you can pay from there instead of the negotiating with the insurance company. Because the insurance company, they say, no, this doesn't include, you know. It doesn't pay. You paid all those for many years, you know. When you need it, it's not there, you know. That was called, you know. There are so many things. There's so many things like that, you see. So anyhow, what I'm saying is these five aggregates is the basis of the samsara. Grasping the self, and we attach to this, and all things such as we are working so hard in the world for all this body. We need a good house for this body. We need a car for this body, isn't it? We need to eat delicious food for the body. We have to buy a good cloth for the body. So all these things, we do this for the body. So these five skandha. Now when you realize, you see, this is about this instead of now you're attached to this body, but you use this body, this five skandha, as a tool to study, practice Dharma. You cultivate loving kindness, compassion. I will practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. In a bodhicitta will come, I invite every sentient beings as my guest. I'm here to help all sentient beings. So this very state of the samsara itself can transform into the enlightened nature, see. And then we follow the practice and realize this five skandha is, as I mentioned, illusory nature, just a manifestation. And then it becomes the basis for the peace and happiness for yourself and for all. See, that's the Buddha's wisdom that taught us this way. First, these things need to be sought out, make clear about these things. You know the two truths, relative truth, absolute truth, If you don't know, they're totally two separate. And ultimate truth, nothing exists. Relative truth, everything exists. Now how you can compromise these two? You cannot, You can make this two separate things. Yeah, non-duality. You have to understand about that non-duality nature. Without this relative truth, there's no absolute truth. Now, when you realize relative truth, that relative truth itself is nothing but the absolute truth. But in our perception, we perceive, as I mentioned, this table is real. When I perceive this table is real, it's relative truth. There's no absolute truth. So how I can understand this table is absolute truth? Relative truth, everything's usable. You can drink the water. When you're cold, we need the heat. When it's hot, we need the air conditioning. So in our life, all our activities are performed in the relative state. It's a relative truth. And we get the benefit. See, when there's a cold, and use the fire, the heat, we get the benefit to free from the cold. When we're thirsty, drink the water, we get the benefit from the water. So in the absolute truth, as I say, everything's, you have heard of unborn, emptiness, cessations, cease to exist. The real nature is unborn, you have heard of, and emptiness. So there's just, I mentioned this bell, the sound, that the sound itself, we can hear it, but it exists nowhere. So that is a non-duality nature. When you realize that, you realize the wisdom. Everything functions within the emptiness, no separation. So this five skandha that I have, all the activities performed within these 5 activities, that relative state itself, is when I investigate where the 5 skandhas are. If I investigate all, no, I don't find one independent entity. It's not that I have get rid of it. It's not that I have negated, but that itself is not exist. So that existence and non-existence are inseparable. That we have to understand. Then we have to put into practice. As I mentioned, practices require. And that practice, you see, what is called that to purify. You have heard of purification. So this, to purify all our, called the inveterate, you know the word inveterate? No? Nobody knows. It's a profoundly, deeply rooted propensity. You know the propensities. What is propensity? What is that? Oh, it means something.
Leaning in.
Yeah. Our imputed self. You know, the self is imputed. So we're so habituated on that. Basically, we are so and profoundly habituated in that grasping the self. So that is difficult to get rid of it. You intellectually, you know it, there's no self, but there is a self, in the mind. I am, nobody can beat me, It's very sensitive and very fragile. So that need to purify. So our practice is way to purify our profoundly rooted in negative habits. Negative habit means the cause of suffering. That takes time. Well, I'm talking here. So I'm talking here, no self, If somebody says bad things about me, what are you talking about me, My response is just there, without any second thought. So if I purified enough, really purified enough, if somebody comes there and says this, it tells me you are a ghost. So I say, okay, thank you. But I know I'm not ready for that, because my habit is deeply rooted, grasping the ego, So that's what is the inveterate propensity. Okay. So that's what Dharma practice is about. So all this is a way how to get rid of the cause of suffering. So these are first very important. So everything is impermanent, changing, moment to moment, like a river running. A big river is running. I saw this today, and yesterday I saw it. Then I will say, oh, this river I saw yesterday. Actually, the river I saw yesterday is gone. Today, what I'm saying, or today I'm seeing, is different than what I saw yesterday. But my mental habit, seeing as something permanent, I'm not seeing this river. It's new. I'm seeing this from yesterday's water. You see, it's like that, you see. Keep changing everything. That's what's an illusory nature. And we don't have ability, mental power to see that reality nature. We're grasping, fixated. So fixated self in this five skandha. As long as I have the grasping of this five skandha, then there is sense of self. When there's a sense of self, there's a mental emotions, mental afflictions, and that creates the karma. And the karma flows one after another. So karma is not a culture thing, or karma is not some believing. Karma is moment to moment. Every moment we are creating karma. Look at our mind. When we meditate, like say practicing loving kindness. Today, yes, I'm practicing loving kindness. May all sentient beings have all the peace and happiness. Just maintain that mind and that state of the mind. Nothing but total peace. No. As soon as the anger, this hatred comes, and that moment there's a suffering, feeling of uncomfortable. You see, this karma. Karma is not something from previous life throw in this moment to moment. Every second we're making and we're experiencing that result. That's why mindfulness, see, awareness, we need this, And you see, this is what Dharma practice is about. Maintaining that kind of state. So first we have to understand these relative states, very important. We cannot ignore the relative state in the ultimate state. Sometimes when you receive teachings to Dzogchen or Mahamudra, they say, oh, in the emptiness, there's no virtue and non-virtue. Have you heard of that? I'm sure you have heard sometimes, Oh, all the negative things just toss in the ultimate state, so don't worry about it, We cannot ignore karma, the causality within in the emptiness. Because the karma is emptiness. Because the form is emptiness. The emptiness is a form, So all these things functions within in the emptiness. There's no separation. Therefore, we have to take care of our relative state. And from within that, with that way, we get good chance to see the ultimate state and inseparable nature. So right now, I'm just introducing to you all how say, the Heart Sutra is a wisdom, Panjana Paramita, the transcendental wisdom. The transcendental wisdom. So how the transcendental wisdom manifests from within relative state. From relative state, we have to understand, to realize the wisdom. We have to have the connections. That's where first Buddha taught, what teaching Buddha taught, Oh, can anyone know that? Can anyone? Oh, yeah, Four Noble Truths. Buddha didn't teach this is everything's emptiness, this is everything's emptiness, Four Noble Truths Buddha taught, you see. Step by step, you see. We have to understand. It's not that you have heard before also, we have to continue, repeat, like you repeat mantra, isn't it? How much mantra you have to repeat? 100,000 this, 100,000 this, 100,000 this. Why you are repeating? Om Tare Tuja Tuja, Om Tare Tuja Tuja, Om Tare Tuja, 100,000 times, Same thing, your teachings you have to repeat. Okay. Make sense? You repeat best practices. Otherwise, it's just say Om Tare Tuja Tuja, so hard. It's enough. I'm sure Tara can hear that. So as we repeat the mantra, same thing, we have to repeat this until we adjust it, until we adjust in that reality nature. Have to practice. In other words, So reminding Dharma teaching, there's not so much new things can talk about. But this, what Buddha taught, is just to kind of reflect on, refresh, and then go deeper, deeper, Just repeating, So Buddha first said, this is a suffering. You should know the suffering. Once you know the suffering, there's more to know suffering. This is a cause of suffering. And you should avoid cause of suffering. That's why Buddha said, I will teach you the liberation, but you have to achieve the liberation. Buddha didn't say, I will liberate you. No. If there is, if there's a way to do it, Buddha will definitely do it. But that is not the case. Because you have Buddha nature. So Buddha taught us about your Buddha nature and how to free from all this confusion. Then we individually have to make effort. Sometimes we find the deities are they're powerful deities, they can liberate you, Even Buddha, at the Buddha himself, at the Buddha time. Have you heard of this one Buddha's disciple who achieved Arhat? You know Arhat? Everyone knows Arhat, isn't it? Who achieved Arhat, died without finding food. Ever heard of that story? Gurchung, they also called Gurchung. A boy who was born in a very poor family. And the family has very little food to provide. And he was very fragile, weak, but just survive. Then after some time, he met Buddha, and he was so devoted to Buddha. Then Buddha said, you want to follow me? So he was so happy the Buddha accepted. Yes, please take me. So then Buddha took him and taught all the teachings. And still he was so kind of poor, just to only survive. Very fragile. So because also being so weak, he could not meditate enough. Physically, so difficult to meditate. So one day, what it was known, somehow he got a good lunch. Somebody offered enough food. So he got that enough food. And by the strength of that, he meditated. need, I think, physical strength as well. So then he achieved Arhat. After achieving the Arhat, then he could not find food. All the Buddha's disciples, like the Shariputra and Ananda and all those, they tried their best to support him, but could not. At the end, he died without food. So so many monks, they're so kind of discouraged. How Arhat can die without food, can fly in the sky, can do these things, that things, still they die without food. What happened? So discouraged. Then Buddha said, it's the karma. Buddha is in front of him. When he died without food, Buddha was there. Why not Buddha can do something for that? But there's no access. There's no way to do this. So Buddha told the story of why he died this way. Many, many aeons, where he caused to die his mother without food. Out of greed. His mother was so generous, His mother was so generous. She's giving. And then he doesn't want to lose the house. So then he said, Mother, if you stay here, soon we will have nothing to eat, nothing left. So he put his mother, in a house and locked the door, and she died. So Buddha said, because of that, the karma, he's paying the price. So karma is like that. So karma is more difficult to understand than emptiness. Nagarjuna died. How Nagarjuna died? I'm sure everybody knows Nagarjuna. It's very popular, After 600 years, when he died, the son of his patron, the king, asked Nagarjuna, can you give me your head? Nagarjuna looked, I have a karma. Many eons ago, I was born as a shepherd. Look after the animals. Then, accidentally, in the grassland, a small buck, cut the head of the buck. I accidentally did that, not consciously. So still I have the karma to pay that off. So Nagarjuna said, you bring a bundle of grass and cut my head. And he did. So Nagarjuna also has to pay karma. So we have to be very careful about the karma, what we're doing, That's the real Dharma practice. We cannot ignore. Sometimes Bodhisattva was okay, do this, that. No, Bodhisattva has to pay also the price, So first, these things are so important that in the relative state, how to take care. Here I'm talking so much now. These are helpful? Are they helpful? Useful? These are so important that as we are as a Dharma practitioner. I was told there are some people like to have some questions. What are those? Yes.
So question is how to practice to have like a little
Well,
experience of empty nature of self. How to kind of like better experience empty aspect of self or of
empty of self.
yes.
Empty of self. Where's the self? Just look at, you know. You know,
How to get rid of
how to get rid of in your mind. Say, I'm not. I should let go. There's have you heard of this Acharya Digna, a great logician? I'm sure you have heard of Acharya Chandrakirti. No, not Chandrakirti. Acharya Dharmakirti. Dharmakirti's former teacher, Acharya Digna. This Buddhists in the Theravada system, there are many schools that time. There are like 18 different schools. So one school believes this self. Self is, they call is imperceptible self. Neither exists nor none exists, but there's something self, you know. So Acharya Digna first he was in that school. So then one day he was at the night light and he was looking, you know, head on his hands. Where's the self, you know? So like that, you can look, where's the self, you know? Where I can find myself, you know? Okay, when you don't find it, it's not that there's something exists that you don't find it, but initially it's not exist. So now I was so stupid, you know? I was so stupid. I was holding self without exist, you know, without existence. So just let go. And develop such a strong compassion to all the sentient beings who are suffering from that. So replace your self-cherishing into universal compassion, loving kindness, or bodhicitta, you know. Yes.
My question is, sometimes I get confused about, thank you, Gyaltsen. Okay, I think that's better. So, if I think too much about this, I get very confused.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when big mind opens, how consciousness could be separate from big mind. Is that even possible? Are they separate? I don't understand.
What do you think?
What do I think?
No, what do you think? Everyone has one mind or two minds.
I think that there's big mind.
What is the big mind?
Okay, so what
Tell me, what is the big mind and the small mind?
Okay, so from my experience, here we go. Okay.
Yes.
So small mind is when I'm having all kinds of thoughts and concepts and lots of thinking going on. Big mind feels like there's a inner quietude and that it is not just inside of me, but also outside of me. It's more expansive.
Where's the outside of you?
It doesn't feel like it's inside or outside,
Okay.
if that makes sense. But my small mind
Yes.
feels
Yeah.
like I'm thinking a lot and it's concepts and habits and patterns. So
Okay.
that's my experience.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I'm just sharing. That's how I experience it.
Okay.
So where's consciousness in all of that? How can consciousness like not be in all of that?
Yes. There's But you have no idea where the big mind is.
I don't know.
Yes.
It
So
feels
how
way
you,
too big
So how you can say it is a big mind?
because I feel like it's way bigger than I can understand.
Oh.
So it's
So
kind of
it's
like
bigger than you.
way bigger than me.
Oh, so it's not yours.
It's not mine.
Okay.
No,
Very good. Yes.
no, small, the others, but I guess that's why I don't understand consciousness quite, because consciousness is awareness, right?
Yes.
Being
You
aware.
know, you're conscious, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
I'm
when-
awake.
Yes, you awake or you are not awake. Or so when you're suffering, you are suffering, isn't it?
Yes,
When you feel happy, you feel happy, isn't
yes.
it?
So that's
So
consciousness.
that's consciousness. Isn't it?
Okay.
You're conscious, you're suffering.
Yeah.
You're conscious, your happiness.
Yes,
When you feel hungry, you're conscious you feel hungry.
yes,
So when you're eating lunch, so I'm now eating lunch, you're conscious that.
yes,
So that's consciousness.
yes. So that which is beyond consciousness,
That which is beyond consciousness, which one?
so big mind.
Big mind.
Okay, so I guess
So big mind has no consciousness.
how can that possibly be? I
Yeah.
can't get I can't think my way into understanding that.
So
If that makes sense.
Let go your big mind.
Okay.
Because it's not relevant,
So I don't need to, so it's kind of like when that opens up,
Yes.
there's no need to look for anything like consciousness
That's right.
or to be concerned about consciousness.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
that's
first-
where it gets a little scary.
Yes, your scary feeling is consciousness. You're conscious, you're scary.
It's that pulling back from that.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if pulling back from that is consciousness coming in and going, oh no, that's too
yes.
scary. You can't go further. And I
So-
only know this from being with a yogi. This isn't
Yes.
me. It's not me.
So
It's from having been with another mind that scooped me up.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
So you see, so you're conscious that you're scared.
At one point.
Yes.
Okay.
So the scary or when you're scared,
Mhm.
so your consciousness is scared. Okay. So it's conscious. So first, as I mentioned, I suggest, since there's no any connection with your big mind, so let go of that, okay? Don't worry about it. It's there or not big mind. It's because it's beyond your imagination, beyond your mind, So first you take care of your consciousness. Then as I mentioned during this time, during these 2 hours, I explained, you contemplate about those things. Okay. And then I'm sure you have read many books. And so just see, I have consciousness. That's my mind. Within that mind and all these different positive thoughts, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, understandings, this I should take care of, refresh, energize. And the other negative mind, my attachment, my anger, my aversion, my jealousy, these they bring suffering. I need to get rid of them, purify them. So that's your practice. Okay?
Got it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Here tonight, first you please take a deep breath. Before breath, you just relax your body, mind, be here. And then first you say appreciate. If you got some benefit, reflect on this. Today, mainly what I was talking about is Buddha's teaching is beyond religion, but it is for all the sentient beings' benefit. What Buddha taught is all the Buddha's wisdom is to engage, way to purify all the cause of suffering, way to bring all the cause of peace and happiness. That's what Buddha taught. And I'm so fortunate, to refreshing my understanding, reinforcing my life in the Buddha's teaching. So I appreciate that. And then take a deep breath, inhale all the Buddha's loving kindness and compassion, and permeate our entire body and mind. And relax the mind as it is. And exhale all the, exhale the breath. Once more, please inhale fully. Buddha's bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, pervade entire our body and mind, and heal our mind. That bodhicitta is concerning of all the sentient beings' suffering and happiness, and desire to all sentient beings to achieve enlightenment, to free from the suffering. So I want every sentient beings free from suffering and attain Buddhahood. And exhale all our negativities, our confusion. And once more, please inhale fully, and total rest like a natural space. Relax there. And with this mind, then we'll say some dedication prayers. Do you have this book, this booklet? The blue one here. Or this, if you have this dedication prayer composed by Lord Jigten Sumgun, page 70. Yes, This dedication prayer is very profound. Has the complete meaning of a lot of Dharma teachings here. Page 70. Okay, chant leader, please chant.
Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, rude assembly of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Viras, Virinis, Yoginis, and Dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May all the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all in samsara and nirvana, and the innate root of virtue, not result in the worldly concerns or causes of samsara, or ripen as the state of a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all other sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, Maras who mislead, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, completely perfected, precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May concern about fame, reputation, and wealth, and honor in this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. At the time of death, may the suffering of severing the life channel not arise. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment, Mahamudra, at the time of death or in the bardo.
Well, we very much thanks Rinpoche gave us profound teaching, and thanks everyone joining us. Also thanks all the friends on Zoom joining us, and thanks all the translator, Vietnamese, Chinese, Russia. So thanks for your translator benefits for everyone. Thank you, Rinpoche.